excited about this one.
Yeah, me too. It's going to be a good match, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And having Doug on board, it's going to be extra great
Oh,
because he's,
extra special.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's been quite a while since he's been on. And so I'm looking forward to catching up with him. And
Yo.
Doug, how's it going,
What's
sir?
happening, y'all? What's happening?
We
Hey,
are
Doug.
just having a
Great to
good
see you.
time hanging out and talking Black Sabbath albums. So,
Oh, it's gonna be
yeah.
fun. I have
Yeah,
refreshed my memory, so I can contribute to the conversation.
fantastic.
Yeah.
That is great.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, this was wonderful. It's good. We're gonna talk a little about about you, what's going on with you, and we're gonna do all the good things. So
Okay.
I like the new studio too. Very
Yeah,
nice.
this is it's the same old studio, but I've
Oh,
got a whole lot more albums, so I converted the bookshelf
okay.
into a place to store albums. So I switch these out all the time. I've got
Hmm.
see, I've got OK
I see
Computer.
the Beatles. Yeah, I see the Pink Floyd.
Oh, yeah.
I
I've
I
got the
can't.
box set of the OK Computer. That's
Oh,
awesome
nice. Okay.
vinyl, y'all.
Yeah. All right.
Let's see. Up there is Transatlantic. That's a Prague group,
Oh, uh-huh.
Yep.
and Big Big Train, my favorite little ensemble. They're great. They're from Britain. That's Jackson Brown. That's just what I've had out.
Okay.
That's
Oh, wow.
Peter. That's a Peter Gabriel album.
Okay. Is that
Uh,
us? Or so?
yep, that's
Okay.
us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of heartbreak on that album. You
Mm.
know? Yes.
I've
Yeah.
got some metal albums too, but I haven't bought a lot of metal albums. Metal vinyl is expensive as hell.
Well, because it's a small run. A lot of those bands that you're going to go that are more the underground metal scene, they have to print those themselves.
Yeah,
So, they're not like a big printing house where they're going to say, "Oh, Metallica's putting out a colored vinyl. We should do a million of these."
sure.
They're going to do like 100 or something, and they have to shell out the $9 or whatever it is for each one first, and then hope to
Mm,
recoup that. But I get it. Yeah.
yep.
Yeah. And we were just talking, we've been so fortunate since you've been on. It's been about 16, 17 months.
Yeah.
We now are sponsored by like five different well, not sponsored, but we're in the connections with five different like record labels and
Oh,
production
nice.
companies, and they send us music. So we started doing these things called first track frenzies or album reviews because we don't record as often as we used to.
Hmm.
And I've gotten over 200 albums in the last year. Like there was no way we can go through this. So I started doing this first track frenzy. We're like, oh, let's listen to the first track of like seven albums.
That's
Get a,
cool.
get a taste of it, you
I
know?
like that.
Yeah. And then we can talk about it and then say, well, if you like the sound, we can, do a lot more of that. Listen to
It's
the
like,
rest of the album.
if we can test drive our cars, we can test drive our vinyl too.
Yeah, exactly. So
Well,
we've been really
absolutely.
fortunate that everything has been so good. But especially the last episode that we just did was unbelievable. So seven
That's
bands were
cool.
like, oh, these are all great bands. So, but
Awesome.
all right, well, let's do our wonderful intro, and then we
Oh,
will get into the world of Doug Helvering. How's that?
we can do it.
Excellent.
I'm
All
with you.
right, here we go.
Hey, this is John Tetley from Jag Panzer, and you are listening to Heavy Metal Horror.
I am Montag, master of illusion. What goes up must come down, but not always.
This is Chop Top, and this one's called The Blizzard of the Madman, so stay tuned.
And this is the Daily Doug, and I have no idea where I am, but I'm going to enjoy the shit out of myself while I'm talking to these guys.
And you are watching,
You are watching.
and listening to. You bring up the horns, Doug. Heavy metal horror. Oh, kitties.
Yes, my precious, yes. It's going to be a very dark episode indeed, yes.
Nice.
Sorry, y'all.
No, that's good, man. There's our new intro. That's fantastic. Doug, for you kiddies who may just be watching for the
Come
first
on
time,
now. Come on
Doug
now.
Helvering, you know Doug as the Daily Doug. He does incredible live reactions to music, and brings a classical composer sensibilities to it. So talks
Yeah.
about how the songs are constructed, structured and built, and chord progressions. Doug, welcome back to
It's
Heavy
great
Metal
to be
Horror.
here. Thank you for having me. It's been too long. How are y'all doing?
It has. We're doing okay.
Yeah,
We
good to see
we lost one of our co-hosts, Dread Bull, just wanted to do other things and spend more time with his family. So we get that. You're dead to us now. No.
Come on.
But so it's just, Chop and I are continuing on, and we thought, since we've lost our co-host, let's begin talking with people who've been on the show, invite them back on for more of a co-host kind of capacity. And we thought you would be wonderful at what we're going to be doing tonight.
I'm happy to be here. This is
That's
going to be
great.
fun.
We're happy to have you. Thank you.
Well, Doug, let's talk a little bit about what's going on at the Daily Doug, and happening in your world.
Thank you. We are going full steam ahead. We've been doing the Daily Doug for this is our third year now, and our third full year, and we just passed 375,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Congratulations.
And
awesome, man.
The thing that I'm really happy about, though, is that we're continuing to grow the channel, and the people are continuing to watch stuff, even our back stuff. These videos tend to be evergreens, some of them for me, that people keep coming back to, and we average between 1.5 and 2 million views a month. And if I could only get the copyright thing straightened out where I could monetize more videos, I wouldn't have to pound the pavement so hard. But
that's one thing I wanted to ask you about later.
To make a living at it. Yeah,
sure. Well, just because we've been blocked by several companies before we started getting into the companies that we have now are all wonderful. Clawhammer, Metal Blade, Hard Life Promotion. Those guys all give us carte blanche.
Sure.
They give us the promos and said, go ahead and talk about it. Whatever you want to do, go ahead and do it. So that's been great. Other larger companies like Sony have blocked us from doing, clips of songs.
Yeah.
That we talked about. So how have you overcome that in the Daily Doug?
There's a couple ways that you can overcome a block. If you get blocked, you can dispute it. They scare the crap out of you with the language, but really you can dispute it without really any negative stuff coming back on you, unless the uploader is just really upfront, kind of belligerent about it. They can set their phasers to obliterate and just knock stuff off. But like if I get a block on, say, Ozzy's record company typically moves to block stuff. So if I want to put out a video featuring Ozzy Osbourne, I need to do it at least like 3 days in advance. So because once I go to dispute it, it takes they give a 48-hour window where the copyright holder can say, no, this is right. But if they don't respond within that amount of time, then the block goes away, and I can release it. I can't monetize it, obviously, sure, but I can at least release it. Now, what ends up happening is when, like, a couple weeks later, when the copyright holder gets around to going through their Gmail and figuring out what stuff's been going on, and they just go, oh yes, we're reaffirming our copyright, it does revert back to blocked. But okay, I can at least get stuff out for a little bit of time, and and at least make a little, or have something to say for the amount of work that I put into that, sure, particular video.
Now those can be taken to other places like Daily Motion and Vimeo. Vimeo does not have the kind of copyright issue that YouTube does.
That's correct.
An early episode, we had to do that. We got blocked on YouTube for copyright. I put it on to Vimeo, and it was no problem.
I have all of my Patreon videos are hosted on the Vimeo platform. And because people are viewing them basically from behind a paywall and everything's unlisted, the copyright worry about sort of mass consumption or anything like that kind of goes by the wayside a little bit. So that's how we're able to do those full album I've got over 65 full album reviews
Awesome.
on my Patreon right now, and we've got over 1,200 active members on our Patreon, and it's just
good for you, man.
It's blowing up. We have a very active community. Just earlier today, we did a 2-hour Zoom of what I call Doug on Demand. We put all of the names in a wheel, and we just hit the spinning wheel, and whatever pops up, they throw me a song, and we listen to it right then.
Nice.
You know, and we get the oddest, coolest stuff. This is stuff that would never end up on my channel. Most likely obscure things. I'm like, what is this? It has like 1,000 views. Holy crap. But it's wonderful.
That's fantastic.
So we have a great time. They're wonderful music lovers from all over the world. And the community is really the most fun part. The music's great, but the community is what keeps you coming back and keeps you sane and all that. So we're having a good old time.
That's fantastic, Doug.
Awesome, man.
Kudos to your success, and well deserved. And you know what attracted me to you as a music reviewer was your sensibilities as a composer, classical music composer, and your knowledge of music theory and things like that. And you know, it's nice seeing people react to Ginger Pisces when they, you know, when Tatiana brings out the death growl. But to, you know, that's always enjoyable. I could watch that all day. But to listen to your approach to songs, especially when you were discovering bands like Iron Maiden for the first time and Opeth, to watch you see and explore the music and understand the significance of it, of the lyrics, and also the emotional impact of the song. It's like falling in love again with that music all over again. So, you know, so that's always enjoyable.
And the great thing is when you put this music under the microscope, you know, and take a good hard look at it, most of it really does stand up to scrutiny. The music that people tend to be excited about, that they want me to hear, tends to be pretty darn good songwriting or darn good playing, or both, you know. And my followers here, or friends in the community, haven't steered me wrong yet. So
excellent.
Except for maybe Dragon Force. I don't know about that.
Well, they're
one.
fast. They're super fast.
That one. I couldn't hitchhike to that one. So
yeah, nice. Well, we'll have a few offerings to make at the end of the show, but
I gotcha.
Yeah, so we're gonna get into Slugfest. This is Slugfest 6.
Yeah.
We're gonna be doing 2 Ozzy Osbourne albums, kiddies. The first 2 albums that he made, 1980 Blizzard of Oz versus Diary of a Madman. Now, Doug, to refresh your memory, Slugfest is like a boxing match. We're going to be comparing track to track. We're going to discuss track 1. We're going to give it the merits, and we're all going to vote. Okay, who's our winner for track 1? And then we take the vote, and we keep track of the entire, you know, tally throughout like a boxing match. We'll work our way through all 8 tracks, and at the end, we will have a Slugfest winner.
I gotcha. This is a great format. I love it. I'm in.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's gonna be fun. So, and we thought it would be a nice change of pace for you, because now you're not having to do a live reaction. You know?
Sweet. Yeah, I know. I've heard these. Actually, both of these I've reacted to on my channel. I believe Diary of a Madman got blocked.
Okay.
And is not available anymore. All of it's available on my Patreon, even for people that are not paying members. We have several of those. But within the last year, I've heard both of these. And then in preparation for our discussion, I went back and reminded myself
nice.
of the sounds. So I'm ready to go.
All right. Excellent. So even though you can't hear it, we're going to have this wonderful round between rounds, wonderful bell sound. It sounds like this.
Chop Top's going to sing the riffs, right?
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. So, all right. So round 1 is I Don't Know versus Over the Mountains. So round 1, ding, ding, ding. All right, Chop, we're going to let you lead the discussion. So
Yeah.
Doug kind of gets familiar with what to do, and then Doug, you'll be next, and I'll finish up.
Okay.
Okay. I Don't Know versus Over the Mountain.
I think what's interesting about my relationship with Ozzy Osbourne solo stuff is I was like in 6th grade or something, and somebody had a little cassette recorder, and we're taking a school bus field trip, and they played Blizzard. I'm just like, what is that? So that's the first time I ever got experienced it. And then I went out and got the cassette back in the day of Blizzard. And as soon as that opens up, that shimmering kind of intro riff, to I Don't Know, and it just breaks into that, it's just like, wow, kind of blew my mind. With that being said, Over the Mountain, that drum intro is crazy, crazy good. And it just kind of sets the tone for, in my opinion, the rest of that album. But I look at, I Don't Know, it's a classic. Yeah, as he usually plays with his live set, or did, not touring anymore. But Over the Mountain, to me, I don't know. I think you're going to see this trend in me as we're discussing this. There was definitely growth, I think, on Diary of a Madman over Blizzard. Now, granted, that was his debut album, all that, and he just burst on the scene. Crazy Train was a huge hit, of course, that really put it over the mountain. But then you get to Diary of a Madman. It just seems like the musicianship, the writing, maybe even the production just stepped up a notch. So for me in this round, it's a clear, I got to go with Over the Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay,
Doug.
Well, so I Don't Know. It does have that sort of growth intro, right? Where it's kind of coming, sneaking in, and that riff is a great driving riff. I think that the riff once they get into it on Over the Mountain is relatively similar. It's a similar tempo, but for me, for the intro drum fill alone, Over the Mountain wins. I think it works better. Both are great songs, but it works better as a first song on an album. You put it on, it's like, it's like, okay, we're in for a ride. And they tell you where you're going, right over the mountain. So yeah, that's my pick too.
Nice, excellent. Well, we're gonna make it unanimous.
That's boring.
Yeah. Well, we got 7 more tracks, so we got a lot of time to fight. The first thing you notice, I think, is how much better Diary of a Madman sounds than Blizzard of Oz sonically. But these are 2 banger first tracks. They both can be the start of a show, and you're going to be blown away. Over the Mountain, I love that drum intro by Lee Kerslake. It's a really catchy riff. It's, there's those 16th notes are awesome. I love both songs, but I think Over the Mountain is one of Ozzy's, heaviest songs. I absolutely love that. Being a drummer, I can hear it. Yeah, it's just catchy. It's just, I think he grew as a songwriter in that second album, at least so far. But so excellent. Well, round one. Here comes Diary of a Madman out of the gate, and takes the first round. Nice to go. Okay, so round 2 is Crazy Train versus Flying High Again. Okay, Chop Top, Crazy Train versus Flying High Again, round 2.
Crazy Train for me is it might be Crazy Train fatigue. I've heard it so much. I mean, yes, there's an iconic riff. It was his first huge hit for his solo career. And his solo is crazy good in it. But it's just from fatigue. And so Flying High Again, I don't know, it's really it's almost bluesy and kind of feel and stuff. And I really like that riff, even though it's simplistic and stuff. And I like the chorus in it as well. So I think for me, Flying High Again is going to win it. I know it might get some crap for it, but it's just because of Crazy Train fatigue. You hear it everywhere. You hear it. It's just, I can't even listen to the full thing on the radio anymore.
I can make up for your fatigue with naivete. I can count on 2 hands how many times I've heard Crazy Train, in my life. So I'm not fatigued by it. And I think I think Flying High Again is a solid tune, but it's no match for Crazy Train in terms of iconic stuff. The F sharp minor intro. Boom, 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 boom. It's, you know, and then it switches to a major key. You know, so they're going back and forth. There's a big time minor riff, and then it switches to the relative major. He's calling everybody aboard, and yeah, for me, it's got to be Crazy Train this round.
All right, very nice. Yeah, we did a show, Doug. It was like the 5 songs we never have to hear or need to hear again. And I remember, I think it was Dread Bull, and I think Chop
Yeah.
both might have had this on their list. And I'm right there with them. The song is a great song. I can
Yeah.
see why it was so catchy. Crazy Train, it has just been played to death. I get it. But as far as a rock song goes and a metal song, I think Flying High Again kind of has that big anthemic kind of sound, and it's still very driving, and it feels more, it's just as accessible, I think, to the masses as Crazy Train. But Crazy Train does have an awesome riff, but for
And
me,
that solo, yeah.
and the solo is great, right? Yeah, Randy Rhoads is phenomenal on both of these albums. But for me, it was Flying High Again is the better track. So, wow, off the top, we have the first 2 rounds are going to the Blizzard, or I'm sorry, to Diary of a Madman.
There
Excellent.
you go.
Wow, there we go. All right. Okay, well, round 3 is Goodbye to Romance versus You Can't Kill Rock and Roll. Round 3, Chop Top.
I think I'm going to go with Goodbye to Romance in this one because I think it's a beautiful song. Randy's solo is stellar, phenomenal in that, and I think even though I love You Can't Kill Rock and Roll, it's just I think because of Randy's playing in Goodbye to Romance and that solo, and just the beautiful melody with it, it has to go for Goodbye to Romance for me.
All right. Excellent. Okay, Doug.
I was it was interesting as I was reading in and like lining up the tracks. Both of these tracks are the third, track on the album, and both of them are ballads. And the You Can't Kill Rock and Roll is the longest song on both of these albums. And there is that great soulful guitar solo in Goodbye for Romance, but with the changes in the tempo that you get and You Can't Kill Rock and Roll, as a keyboard player, they've got some synths in there that makes me happy. I mean, Ozzy is singing in octaves with himself. And the last I checked, that was pretty difficult to do. So I like You Can't Kill Rock and Roll in this round.
Excellent. All right.
It was close though. It was close.
Yeah. I remember Chop and I saw Ozzy on the Retirement Sucks tour, and Goodbye to Romance was the 3rd song on the set. It's like
We're gonna slow things down.
We're gonna slow things down. I'm like, I guess
down.
retirement does suck. You just got the audience whipped into a frenzy the first part of the show, and you're gonna slow it down.
Third song.
So I get that. Hey, you retire, you sit on your ass for a while, you're just gonna get out of shape. It's no big deal. I have always disliked Goodbye to Romance. Whether it's a live version, musically, there's some great music in it, but the solo especially, I just don't like the song. You Can't Kill Rock and Roll has this kind of the beautiful, the arpeggios, kind of through that. And I remember when I was first learning guitar, and you first learn that E, and how you can just kind of bring that E up and up the fretboard. I played something very much like that intro with that E going up and down. And when I heard it, I'm like, oh, come on, man. Hey, but it's a common thing. You play that open E up and down. So I love You Can't Kill Rock and Roll. I think it's a much stronger song. And again, you get the different flavors. You get that kind of beautiful, beautiful intro. It's never. And both songs have a sense of like heaviness at times, or like an emotional weight that I think is good. But You Can't Kill Rock and Roll wins it for me. Oh wow, we have an early lead so far.
I'm sensing a theme.
Yeah, hey, it's that's what's great about this format is like when you're looking at both albums, if you're doing album at a time, it might be something completely different. But when you
Mhm.
have to compare two tracks, it brings a whole different sensibility to how you approach the music and comparing like what are you looking for as
Yeah.
far as what's stronger. Because our very first Slugfest, it was Master Puppets versus Rust in Peace. Um, and I like Rust in Peace as an album better, but Master Puppets won it for me on a track to track basis,
Fascinating.
and I think part of it too is Metallica fatigue. It's like that's part of it. It happens. Like Iron Maiden, I'm kind of fatigued. I love them, but I would rather hear a new band right
Hmm.
now. So,
Hmm.
but all right. So, hey, we have Diary of a Madman is doing well so far. Let's see if round four can make a change. Round four is Suicide Solution versus Believer. All right, round four. Go Chop Top.
I This was a difficult one. I don't want to call a draw, but
Yes, you better
'cause
not.
I love both songs equally. For me, Believer's really interesting because it starts up with this kind of bass riff, and it kind of squeals into this, first kind of guitar riff, almost kind of doomy in sensibility. But then it changes up when Ozzy starts singing right away. So it's a real interesting track. Suicide Solution, I just that iconic riff, man, for me. I just think that's a burner. It's one of Ozzy's best. Um, Man, all the way through. This is tough. This is really tough. Because when we went to Akron Rubber Bowl, Montag, we saw Ozzy perform and he did Believer
Hmm.
there, which is a rarity. He rarely
Yeah.
does that. He used to maybe back in the, you know, 82, 81, whatever like that, but hardly ever. So I think just basically Suicide. I like playing that riff. I love the riff. And for me, I'm going to give it the Suicide Solution.
All right, Doug.
Yeah, interesting songs, and quite different lyrically too. Uh, the Suicide Solution is a little dark for me to personally really enjoy. In my day job, I'm a interpreter of language, really, as a person who's been trained to write choral and vocal music, in that style, right? And so I'm used to reading poetry and reading lyrics and thinking what the musical sounds might be in relation to those, and reading the lyrics, hearing Ozzy sing about that topic is tough, especially if you're getting into the lyrics. If you're just kind of bopping along to the riff, it'll sustain you, right? It's a relatively simple tune, repetitive with that, but a really iconic riff. But for me, Believer, I'm gonna go with Believer on this one. Really thick guitar riff, once you get into it, that bass intro is really, really cool. And again, the synths for me, I think, fill out the sound, and especially that move that they were doing. Now I'm trying to remember what it was, but I think it was like a tritone move that is prevalent in metal, but it was really cool as I recall. So for me, it's Believer
Nice,
in this
nice.
round.
Yeah, these and I should remind everyone because there are some people going, "Hey, what about D?" We had to remove D because
Uh-huh.
it's a short musical piece. Not that it's bad, but now we have 8 tracks to 8 tracks because it made one album a little longer, 9 tracks to 8. And so since it really doesn't have any place to compare,
It
we
wins
just
by default.
we
How
just
about
yes,
that?
it wins its
I
own
don't know.
it wins its own participation trophy. So this was a tough one for me. Is both of these tracks are really good. I really like it. And they both sound very familiar in sounds of construction. Believer has a little bit more complexity. Some interesting mood changes kind of midway through it. And Bob Daisley's bass line is immediately memorable. It is. But I mean, their Suicide Solution musically is also really great. So, but for me, what wins it is Believer. I'm gonna go with Believer. I know.
Wow.
Um, yeah, it's looking bad for Blizzard of Oz. Diary of a Madman is up 4 rounds to 0.
Wow.
I know we've never had something so unanimous.
So
Yeah.
maybe we should give D to Blizzard of Oz anyway. Wins by default, so it's 4-1.
Okay, we'll do a technicality 4-1.
Technicality.
Technicality.
Consolation prize.
They should have put a 9th song in Diary of a Madman. They just
Yeah,
messed
yeah.
up. There
Absolutely.
it is.
Even put in that little Paul Stanley commercial he did for Folgers. Have you seen that?
I don't think so.
Oh,
Doug, you
yes.
must. You must.
Let me just say
That's bucket list material right there.
it's
buddy.
magic. And that's all I'm
Okay.
gonna say. You got to see it.
All
Just
right.
go to
It's a
YouTube.
flourish.
Paul Stanley Folgers commercial.
Maybe I'll record it as a short and put it out on my channel.
Yeah, we did a whole rant on Paul Stanley.
Yeah, a lot of hits on that one.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did. But yes, yeah, that one's great. You'll want to be high for that one. That's funny. All right, so we have same. Cheers. Hey, 421.
Go. You know, y'all are lucky that I'm talking in complete sentences today because 420 was on a Saturday this year.
I know.
I didn't have to record a video.
Yeah, I baked till I fell asleep.
Happy birthday to me.
That's right. Yeah, I slept for 5 hours at one time, which is for someone with insomnia. I can't remember. It's maybe been over a year since I slept 5 hours in a whole night, let alone in one block, because I was so fucking baked all day. It was like by 9 o'clock, I've been baking for a good 12 hours. I'm like, well, it's probably time to go to sleep.
I did wait till about 2 o'clock in the afternoon before I kind of started. So I got some work done first.
All right.
So we're good.
Good. Well, track 5 is Mr. Crowley versus Little Dolls. Okay, round 5. Ding ding. Okay, Chop.
Little Dolls is a strange one for me on Diary. It just kind of stands out a little bit more than the other ones. Not that I don't care for it. It's just a little different for me. Mr. Crowley, I think, just with that keyboard synth intro, it's very gothic-y feeling. Excuse me. Then Ozzy just breaking right into the vocals with the riff and stuff, and Randy. It's just, and I think the solo again and Mr. Crowley is absolutely exceptional. So Mr. Crowley wins it for me.
Okay.
Yeah, me as well. I'm just going right into it. I mean, Little Dolls is a solid tune, but it's no match for Mr. Crowley, in my opinion. It's one of my favorite Randy Rhoads solos. And the synth part, the chord sequences, it's that raised seventh that true raised seventh that you get in minor that classical composers will use, especially like Bach and Mozart when they're in minor keys, that you don't get as much in metal and rock and roll. They're typically using the lowered seventh. That's what gives it that, what you called it, gothic feel. It's got that enhanced way that it resolves when it does, and it's a great tune all around. It might be one of my favorites on both albums. It's really a great tune. So that's my pick, Mr. Crowley.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have one of the spookiest song intros, and I think that right by itself really outweighs the Cozy Powell-esque intro of Little Dolls. It sounds a lot like Cozy Powell. A Little Dolls feels almost like radio friendly, which doesn't really help. But Mr. Crowley embodies, I think, everything dangerous about Ozzy Osbourne. I mean, the song drips with Satanism, which makes my little black heart happy. And it is just a great song. The solo is wonderful. That was my pick as well, Mr. Crowley.
Crowley was like an occult member.
He was like the head of the Satanic Church at the time.
Yeah, Crowley. Yeah.
Yeah, he was very into mysticism, and he wrote the Satanic Bible, and which I read, and I think my mom threw away. I'm gonna find out. She probably was like, "Mark Allen, the devil's not gonna take your soul." And yeah, so he founded the Satanism, which not devil worship. It doesn't. They don't. Satanists don't believe in a literal devil or God.
Sure.
And it's more about being a humanist and kind of just indulging in all your whims and stuff like that. But
fascinating. I'll have to get up on my reading of Sir Crowley.
Yeah, read the Satanic Bible. It's quite it's quite enjoyable. They got the 9 satanic commandments instead of 10.
Fascinating.
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
Cool.
So great song. So now, hey, look, with
Wizard of Oz.
They're on
Look,
the
yeah,
board.
Blizzard of Oz is on with the 1 or 2 if we're gonna throw in D as somewhat of a bolster. So there was track 5. So now we got track 6, No Bone Movies versus Tonight, round 6. Okay, Chop, take it away.
This is like two of my least favorite songs on both albums. Uh, I don't know. Tonight's it's okay. No Bone Movies is just showing that humorous side of Ozzy. It's just so silly and stuff. It's skippable for me. So I think just by default, I'm going with Tonight. I think there's just more to say with that song, and yeah, I think I enjoy that much more. No Bone Movies, yeah, it's playing in the background with our look, but I'll skip that, and I'd rather hear Tonight. So Tonight wins that one for me.
All right, Douglas.
I think it's really hard to put No Bone Movies between two songs like Mr. Crowley and Revelation Mother Earth.
Great point. Yeah.
It kind of pales in comparison to the songwriting of the other two around it, and it's a little juvenile, but that's okay. But Tonight, I think it's a heartfelt lyric. It does have that 4-chord song in a major key chorus to it that I think gives it kind of an anthemic feel. There's a great guitar solo. We don't hear too many guitar solos in major keys in metal music, and so yeah, Tonight I think they're not. Neither one of them are standout tunes on the album, on their respective albums for me. But I'll take Tonight over No Bone Movies.
Okay, yeah. Um, like you, Chop, this one was a tough one for me because I really dislike both of these songs pretty equally. I think they are some of the worst songs on any Ozzy album. No Bone Movies is almost embarrassing, in its subject matter. It's 2 steps away from either Paul Stanley or Spinal Tap, but I don't want to give them that much, No Bone Movies that much credit. But Tonight it's a ballad, but it's following like a pop song. That's kind of what we have on 2 tracks here. On Diary of a Madman, the Little Dolls to Tonight. It's we got the pop song, and then now we have a ballad. But if I have to pick one, I have to pick Tonight as well, just because there's a little bit more to, especially the solo. The solo is what kind of wins it out for me. It's kind of like, okay, yeah, but these are 2 songs I wouldn't ever have to worry about hearing again. I'd be okay with that. All right, so Diary of a Madman takes another swipe and comes back. Round 7 is Revelation Mother Earth versus Sato, or Sato. So round 7, Chop Top.
It's Revelation Mother Earth all the way. This one, I just think there's so much more musically, intricately going on in that song. I like the way it's put together. I love the playing's phenomenal in it, and I like the subject matter especially as well. So Revelation Mother Earth, hands down.
Excellent. All right.
Yeah, it's interesting. As I was getting ready to do my review of this album, one of my patrons, who's become a good friend, and he tries to inform me about things on the guitar, of which I am quite unfamiliar in term. Really, for somebody with the training that I have, the guitar itself is something that I'm largely, I haven't had a lot of exposure to how intricate and all the fingerings and all that sort of stuff. But he was he couldn't wait for me to hear this SATO song. And it's a great song. It's got that driving shuffle beat. But Revelation Mother Earth might be my favorite song on either of these albums. If I was going to listen to one song, the first one that I would pick probably would be Revelation Mother Earth. It's a great ballad. It's on point, this time of year, Earth Day, that we're recording this. Especially the tubular bells that they've got in there. It's they've got a really nice range of sounds in it. I think the songwriting is solid. The chord progression's great. The melodies are great. It's a great tune. I love it.
It is. Yeah. These are both amazing songs.
Agreed.
Sato has a great syncopated rhythm. I love that, like you mentioned, the shuffle. But Revelation Mother Earth has a mournful, wailing passion that lifts a song emotionally. I used to play drums to the Randy Rhoads tribute album. I don't know if you've listened to that one yet, Doug. It's a live album.
Cool. I
During
don't
that
think I
time.
have.
Yeah, go treat yourself to it. So when I was in college, I'd play along to these albums, and I absolutely loved playing this track, especially when the chorus hits. There's this whining, sustained guitar notes, and you could hear those tubular bells. So the live version, I think, is so much richer and better than the studio version, which
Mm.
goes a long way to say that this band was on fire. Like they are just
Well,
playing.
those tubular bells, like it just brightens the whole, what brightens,
Yeah,
uplifts the song, I guess, if it lack of
Yeah.
better word I
yeah.
could use.
And when you think
I
of,
really enjoy that. It's shimmering almost, I
yeah,
guess, for me.
well, like when you hear things like, well, Rush with Xanadu has those tubular
Ooh,
bells, and you hear
yeah.
that coming through. So yeah, there's something about that, but hearing it in a metal song, and then also with the subject matter, I think it fits but yeah, it's an amazing song, one of my favorite tracks of all time of any band, especially to
Mhm.
play. So yeah, so my vote also goes to Revelation Mother Earth.
Okay,
Um,
Blizzard of Oz is going to make a comeback.
Blizzard of Oz is coming back for sure. So
And they
now
got
we
one track
have,
to do it.
yeah,
So it's
round 8. We have Steal Away the Night versus Diary of a Madman. So round 8. Take it away, Chop.
man. I love Steal Away. It's just a fun, jammy song. I love that riff. Um, man, it's a jammer. But you see a pinnacle of where Randy's playing has progressed, especially with his classical influence and inspiration. That's clear cut. Right at the beginning, that intro of Diary is so awesome and memorable. You just can't forget it. And I just love the entire song, like the way it's structured. I love. I don't know. There's a mournful quality with Ozzy singing through that, and just Randy in the like breakdown and lead sections or before the lead or whatever. It's just outstanding, including the outro. I just think it's an epic, epic Ozzy song and one of his best ever, one of my favorites. So, Diary.
All right, Doug.
Yeah, Diary is my pick as well. Steal Away the Night, the vocal harmonies in the chorus are really cool. And I think it's a nice kind of, like hard, especially like if you're driving in your car,
Right.
sort of tune. Diary of a Madman is musically superior, in my opinion. The acoustic guitar that Randy uses in the intro, they're in 7 in this song, right?
Hmm.
They're in a slow syncopated 7 in the verses, and that's enough for me to go check. I'll vote for that one. It just shows that they're being they're searching for what they haven't quite done yet. That it's something that I hadn't heard any asymmetric meters in any tune. So that's the last song on the second of these albums, and it's got a great syncopated groove in 7, and Ozzy is singing pretty darn well on that tune.
Mm-hmm. It's a
Yeah.
different vocal performance when you
Mhm.
in either of those songs. They're both different sides of his vocal prowess.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm right there with you guys. I do love
Yeah.
both of these songs, as well. I think it's phenomenal ways to end these albums. They're both fantastic in their own ways. You got Diary of a Madman is a cool offbeat rhythm. I love that syncopated stuff, and the guitar work is almost prog. Steal Away the Night is a ripper. I think one of Ozzy's more upbeat tempo songs, and Rhodes and Aldridge are just killing it.
Mm.
Uh, I used to love playing this song. Diary of Madman's fun to play. You get that cool rhythms and stuff, but at the end of a concert, when I've been playing this album for an hour and I play Steal Away the Night, it's like I'm exhausted, I'm tired. This song just kind of is exuberant for me.
Mm.
So I'm going to pick Steal Away the Night, but you guys already picked Diary of a Madman. Diary of a
Oh,
Madman already won. But my pick was Steal Away the Night just because it's
Awesome.
such a banger. But I love both tracks, you
Cool.
know. So, well, we have a clear winner tonight. Yes, Diary of a Madman um, wins quite handily, 6-2 or 6-3. We'll go at 6-3. We'll let D make its case. But yeah, I mean, and these are both phenomenal albums. On paper, you would think that Blizzard of Oz should win because it's the first album. It's got killer songs, but that's what happens on a slugfest, man. Track to track, toe to toe.
Yeah.
Things come out that way.
Yeah.
You know what? Overall, even before that, we did this episode, I was thinking for the last couple of weeks I'm thinking Diary's always going to, for me, beats Blizzard. I still love both albums, but man, Diary is just, to me, the superior album at the end of the day. So,
yeah, I think it's stronger than Bark at the Moon.
Okay.
But that might be.
Heard.
I can see that. Yeah, I can see that.
And I got to hear Bark at the Moon more, Bark at the Moon again. But yeah. So you've not heard Bark at the Moon, Doug?
Nope.
Oh.
Just skip So Tired. You'll do yourself a favor.
That's got to be after this then, right?
Yes,
if it's
the album. It's the next album after this.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, because he did a live album.
Jakey Lee's playing, man. Jakey Lee's playing on that album is phenomenal.
Yeah.
So.
You said that Diary won for us 6-2, 6-3.
6-3.
I think I agreed with every one except Crazy Train
and Steal Away the Night.
And that's right. That's true as well.
Yeah.
But great stuff. Just great stuff. I did rank, if you want my personal, like if I had to rank a top 5 songs, if I pulled from both albums,
let's hear it.
What's number 1? So number 5 for me is You Can't Kill Rock and Roll. 4 would be Believer. 3 would be Mr. Crowley. 2 would be Diary of a Madman, and 1 would be Revelation Mother Earth. That's my top 5.
Yeah.
From these two.
Can't beat that top 5.
I should get credit for not picking Crazy Train, right?
Yes, you get a bonus point.
Bonus point.
Right. You get a ticket for a free return back to Heavy Metal Horror.
There you go.
There you go.
Anytime.
Yeah,
you continue to have credibility in our small group. Yes.
Yes. They'll say, Doug, why are you slumming with those guys? No, I'm so glad that you came and joined. Did you enjoy the
This was fun. This was fun. Yeah, I like it's an interesting way to compare albums because, if there's different songs, like if we had No Bone Movies up against Tonight, I think if Tonight was up against most other songs, it probably we would have picked the other one. But they happen to go against each other. So it's interesting where the sides are strongest and where the albums are strongest. And according to us, Diary of a Madman side 1 is just ripping it up.
Yes. Yeah. It shows a progression in the artist, and Ozzy is just becoming a stronger writer.
Randy becoming even that much better guitar player. But
and then you kind of take a little bit of a breather until you get to Diary of a Madman, and it finishes out in an interesting way. It's almost like they were going it's almost a prog metal song, Diary of a Madman.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
And
I think
it's really cool. Go ahead.
I think what's interesting is that I think because Randy, is giving guitar lessons and also classically influenced and putting that into the music finally, it shows, man, what would have happened if he would have lived on? Continue that growth. What would the next album would have been like with Randy and Ozzy as you trail off from Diary of the Madman? Because that progression, the growth, the maturity in the songwriting and everything is absolutely prevalent.
Yeah, a couple more albums. It's amazing what it might have been a completely different band. It's hard to say because he was just such a virtuoso and not just playing. He was just amazing. He stands out like Jimi Hendrix or Stevie Ray Vaughan, who was like Jimi Hendrix. And David Gilmour, and stands out as a phenomenal guitarist who's just known for a very distinct sound. Yeah.
And you should take these albums that you're doing this way. And take the winners, and then once you get like a batch, you could do like a March Madness style and just kind of rack them against each other.
Oh, nice!
Like how now that we've determined that Diary of a Madman is a superior album to Blizzard of Oz, how does it match up with whatever Metallica album you thought was the best?
We did
song for song.
Yeah, well, I think our second Slugfest, it might have been was it was Prague. I think we did Dream Theater, Scenes from a Memory,
Mm.
It's
and
Operation Mindcrime.
and then Operation Mindcrime, right?
Ooh.
Which was a really good. Yeah, you should go check it out. You should come to
Yeah.
check it out, Doug.
Yeah, I'm not going to ask you because I want to listen to the
Yeah.
conversation
Yeah.
and hear how you came to your conclusion so that then I can trash it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Then
Don't
then
forget
we
to
did
add your comments, Doug.
then
Yes.
we
There
did
you
two
go.
Dios. We did a couple Dio albums too. But
Nice.
yeah, I like that. That sounds fun.
Last of Mine, Holy Diver, and we did Black Sabbath's Born Again Against Seventh Star.
Mm.
Yeah, so we've
That reminds me, I've got some Dio coming up on my channel and I can't remember exactly what. I am doing Children of the Sea from Black Sabbath
Ooh, you've not heard it?
tomorrow.
Tomorrow for your
Yeah,
first time
okay.
hearing it?
First time.
Oh,
And I'm
Can't wait
tying
for
it into like an Earth Day focus.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and then in a couple of weeks later on this summer, I'm gonna listen to Richie Blackmore's Rainbow, A Side at a Time.
Yeah.
I think I've only heard one or two songs from that entire album.
Rising
so.
is also excellent.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cozy
That's a
Powell is
classic.
phenomenal on that album. Yeah.
We're on
Um,
fire.
Yeah.
And then later this week on Friday, I'm gonna pay tribute to Dickie Betts. We're gonna listen to In Memory of Elizabeth Reed, the Live at Fillmore East cut,
Nice.
and raise a glass to Dickie on Friday.
Absolutely.
And then I got some other stuff during the week, but it's gonna be a busy week for me.
Yeah. That's
But a
great.
good one.
Now, are you recording it tomorrow or are you doing it live streaming on YouTube tomorrow?
No, I always my reaction videos I always record ahead of time, and then it's very simple editing. I do them in continuous takes. It's kind of instant lecture style, and so I'll record it tomorrow morning, and
Nice.
I look forward to it.
Yeah. Well,
all
you're
I've really
Look forward to seeing it. Yeah.
You're gonna yes, I'm excited about seeing it. I don't want to spoil it for you.
okay.
But I'm so excited that you're doing Children of the Sea. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't read in much yet. I know that we were looking at a couple of different options for a tie-in to both our Metal Monday series and something that's close to this holiday, and it's an important holiday for me. Paying to be humble about our environment.
Sure.
And when I started reading into the lyrics of that, I'm like, yeah, that can work for that. I was also thinking of the song called Earth Day by Devin Townsend.
Okay.
But when I read the lyrics to that, I wasn't quite sure that it was going the direction that I was wanting to go in its meaning. So I held off on that one. I was also looking at a couple others, but we ended up going with Dio's version of Black Sabbath there.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
With Children of the Sea. So it's always good to listen to Dio on a Monday, right?
Not that he's one of the few voices I still really sorely miss in this world. Dio, Neil Peart. There's a few people who are irreplaceable. So and he's one for him for sure. Well, you have a long history of loving Dio. I mean, Dio, you know what to expect, and I think you're going to be pleasantly you're just going to enjoy it because Dio just brings it,
We'll share it by this time tomorrow. It'll be out for everybody to enjoy.
Yeah, it will. Excellent. Before we let you go, we do have a couple suggestions.
Okay, I'll get my notes.
Yeah, let me know when you're ready.
Okay.
I've got 3 suggestions. I'm not sure if Chop has any for you, but
I love Kenny Rogers. I appreciate you putting him on the list here. Islands in the stream.
Kenny Rogers is one of those guys who can talk his way through a song. Like when you listen to Ruby or The Gambler, he's a talk singer. He doesn't have a great singing voice. He just talks, but his music was so great. I love Ruby. It. Yeah, I love the early stuff. Ruby, it was one of the great.
Go ahead. What were you?
All right. So my first selection is a band called Sermon. We interviewed the singer, musician. He writes. He's basically a one-man band kind of thing. Brilliant interview. If you haven't checked it out,
cool.
Sermon. The song is called Departure. It's the last track on their album of Golden Verse. It might be a little manic for you, but you got to ride through the manic and listen to the changes of the song.
Is it like thrash?
No, it's like melodic, progressive metal in a way that feels like at times feels a little like Tool. a little bit
Okay.
with the tribal rhythms. But the whole album of Golden Verse is we got it. We listened to it. It was like one of the most brilliant albums that I've ever heard. It's on my constant playlist on my
Nobody from my
shuffles.
community has pointed them out to me yet, so that intrigues me.
Yeah. So Departure is the last track, but there are other tracks on this album. This would be a good album for you to do a live reaction because you are going to go like an Opeth journey. You know, Opeth
Sure.
takes you of Golden Verse, takes you through all kinds of different sounds as well. Yeah. So that's my first one.
Gotcha.
Second one is a band called Shaolin Death Squad. The drummer for King Diamond, Matt Thompson, this is one of his side projects.
Okay.
And the song is called A Terrible Way to Use a Sword. It's the first track off of their album Intelligent Design.
The
A
Black Knight always triumphs.
Yes. Shaolin Death Squad is a progressive metal band as well.
Cool.
And I don't want to spoil it because
Okay.
I only got them because we interviewed him and he talked about this. I'm like, God, I didn't know you had this other band. Then I went to listen to it. I'm like, oh my God, blew me away. This
Cool.
whole album is one that will take you on a musical journey all over the place. Fantastic.
Rock and roll.
And the last one, it's our old friends from Sweden, Sorcerer.
ABBA? Oh no. No.
Well, we'd love to have ABBA on.
Yeah.
Voulez-Vous is one of my favorite songs.
Cool.
ABBA, Sorcerer.
The Sorcerer.
The song is called Break of Dawn, which is their last
Mhm.
track on their newest album, Reign of the Reaper, which is kind of like a not
think doom
necessarily
metal.
yeah, it's doom, it's heavy, melodic, with soaring
Crystal.
vocals. The album is not a concept album, but it's all songs that are linked with a common theme. Thematically, it's related.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is a really great way to finish an album.
Okay.
You'll get a sense for who they are as a band, and then you'll
Lovely.
just be able to hear what makes them them. So that's my three. Chop, did you have anything that you think Doug would enjoy when I was reacting
I
to?
have a couple. I don't know. I can't recall if Doug's covered them on his channel yet or not. But Mastodon,
Yeah. I've done a few for Mastodon.
I like the whole Crack in the Sky album. I think it won a Grammy even back then. Stuff. I like the
Mastodon is a
think-
band that I have never listened to. I wouldn't know them in a lineup.
I think I've gone to them for some of their takes on military historical events.
Okay.
Hang on a second.
Although I think I saw them
you're
once.
thinking of Sabaton, I think.
Sabaton. Well, that's
Yeah.
true. Don't you hate it when people sing while they're searching?
We just look good, you know.
There you go. I've done.
If we do that, now people say, "Oh, Montag looks so much better. We
Oh.
can see his palm."
So I've taken a look
hair's
at Oblivion,
Oh, nice. Yeah.
and I've taken a look at what's this one? Blood and Thunder.
Early stuff. It's raw. Yeah.
Yeah, early stuff. Yeah, just those two. But yeah, Oblivion is from Crack the Sky.
Yes. That's right.
That one I've done. So just those two, and it's been a while. So I could get back to those guys. What's the song from them that you were thinking of?
Gosh. Oh my gosh. I love them all now, but probably Crack the Sky, the title track.
Title track.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I think as far as a couple other, I'll tell you, for me, album of the year, metalhead, Judas Priest, Invisible Shield, the entire new album is just, other than,
I've had other people telling me about it.
yeah, other than the one of the bonus songs, because I got the deluxe version. Go ahead, Montag, your surprise face.
Yeah, what?
There's another track on there also on the regular version that's like, other than those two tracks, that's for me right now, album of the year. You talk to me 6 months from now, it could change, but that's I love it to death.
So here's what I've got. Excuse me, I've been doing a lot of talking today. I have on my schedule that nobody sees, right, my planning schedule, I've got some Judas Priest coming up in the next month to month
sweet.
and a half. However, I have never, I mean, I've heard the song, but I've never reviewed it on the channel. Breaking the Law.
Oh,
Is it
Okay.
worth putting on the channel ahead of the new music? Or should
No.
I?
it's just
I'm sorry.
it's just kind of it's a classic. Everyone because it's radio friendly.
It's not analogous to Crazy Train for y'all.
It kind of is.
Kind of in that
Yeah.
same vein.
Yeah,
Again, we got the fatigue, but
but it's a good
it is a
song. It's very
classic.
friendly. You know.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
I'll-
accessible.
I think I'll do that first. We're gonna in May next month, we do a genre every month for our patrons, where they'll pick, like, we'll do your favorite relationship songs, your favorite, like this month is your favorite lyrics in a song. We've done Guitar Month, we've done Diamonds in the Rough. This month, for the very first time, we're doing your or next month, I should say, in May, we're gonna do your favorite metal tunes.
Nice.
And we've
Awesome.
yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. We'll see what they come up with.
You know, if you are looking for an album that's short and sweet, like you want to have an album that's a half hour or shorter, I would go with the new Midnight album, Hellish Expectations. Midnight's a local band from Cleveland, and they've been doing their version of Sleaze and Speed for 20 years.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like
Venom and Motorhead had a baby.
yeah, Venom and Motorhead have a baby, and it is Midnight. Yeah.
Just fun.
And they're great. If you just go check them out live, they wear like executioner's hoods, you know, while they're playing, and there's this whole mystique around them. And it's just like really fun, simple, sleazy, you know, horror rock in a lot of ways.
Okay.
Very tongue in cheek, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah, they are great. Simple, repetitious chords, you know, 3-4
Okay.
chords, just like the
Tho-
great punk, you know, like the Ramones. I mean, it's just straightforward old Motorhead. Yeah.
There's value in the simpler songs as well.
So
a
catchy.
song doesn't have to be smart or complicated or virtuosic to be a good song.
Agreed.
It
Yeah.
just has to do what it's designed to do.
Hmm.
You know, there's
Yeah.
different songs for different moods, and sometimes these just straight ahead riff songs are the ones that you need to listen to. You know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think, yeah, I did a live reaction to Hellish Expectations with Justin Biggs from Sorcerer. Because was it? No, that was with Vic Stone, excuse me, of Vindicator.
Yeah.
Because you know, we loved our local Cleveland bands, and it is just fun, balls to wall fun. You're gonna love it. You know, because
Cool.
it's just raw and in your face, and it's wonderful.
Okay.
Every track just gets better. You know, it's just great. So.
Mhm.
Well, Doug, we want to thank you again for being on Heavy Metal Horror. I mean,
My
it's
pleasure.
always great to
Thank
have
you.
you on, and glad things are going so well for the channel.
Yeah, congratulations again on that.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
keep
Thank
on
you
bringing
much.
the good reactions.
Thank you much.
Looking forward to watching your reaction to Children of the Sea.
Mhm.
And everyone out there, go to the Daily Doug, subscribe, go to Patreon, because we get a kickback. So please go do that. No,
Yep, I will kick you. I will kick you right back. Thank you for
That's
that. I appreciate it.
Right in
Oh,
the back.
Montag wants Patreon? No, don't let him in.
Come
Kick him to the
on.
curb. No.
Yeah, and you can even, if you go, they have a new thing on Patreon that's kind of cool. You can follow me without paying anything and just see what the posts look like. Some people have subscribed to my Patreon and then left because they're like, you put out so much stuff, I can't even watch it all. So
Well, that's horrible.
I feel like I'm not getting my money's worth, and so I'm like, well, then fine, leave then. What? But
Right.
Get the breaks.
I am used to having a busy schedule. The types of videos that I do not require a ton of preparation. They tomorrow when I do Children of the Sea, I'll probably work for about an hour. I'll put together a sheet on my computer that's got the basic information about it: the name, date, serial number, who's playing on it, what the year was, a little bit of quips about it. If I find something interesting, I'll have the song title and the lyrics laid out for me, and that's it. And then I just start, I just record my screen in HD, and I start talking to my camera, and I turn this on and off I go. And then right then I can start editing it and be done and uploaded. And a longer video with like a half a side. But if I'm doing like a short video like this one, Children of the Sea, that's 2.5 hours for me from beginning to end. It's a nice way to to spend your morning.
Sure.
Just focusing on a song.
Right.
It's neat.
That's great.
It's a great way to spend your time, and I look forward to doing it. So that's
Excellent.
why I
look
keep
forward to
doing it.
watching it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we love watching you in reactions, and it's nice to see your approach to studying and how you analyze music. It's a refreshing take, and so we're grateful again. We're gonna do our outro, and we're gonna invite you to bring out the horns with us again.
Okay.
So, everyone, go out to the Daily Doug, subscribe, and watch.
Thank you very much.
You can find Heavy Metal Horror on unsaneradio.com, listen to full episodes, or download to your device. You can find us on Facebook, Heavy Metal Horror Podcast. On Instagram, look for Montag Lewis, one word. Our YouTube page, Heavy Metal Horror Podcast. If you're watching, that's where you're at. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. And if you know someone who'd like our show, tell them about us. This has been Montag, Astrovolution,
Chop top.
and the Daily Doug.
And Doug Helvering, I'm right here.
And
John.
you've been watching and listening to Heavy Metal Horror.
This is Doug Helvering, and you have been listening to Heavy Metal Horror, the best podcast that you've never heard before.